today we're doing an interesting topic. We're going to talk about types of insurance that entrepreneurs should think about before leaving their job. I know a lot of times we jump into this realm and we don't think about, what might happen if we get sick later on, the different types of illnesses and the different types of coverage that you could qualify for in case you don't have like spousal support and you're just on your own. So I have a special guest today. This is Nathan from IG Investors Group, and he is our professional consultant, and he's here to answer some of those questions for us today. So Nathan, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
My first question is, what types of insurance should entrepreneurs consider before leaving their job?
So there are four main types of insurance that you should consider before you ever leave your job.
Okay.
And this would be whether you start your own business, whether you just become a sole proprietor, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
The first is dependent on whether you have anyone dependent on you. So
Sure.
if you have kids, family that is dependent on you, your income, your ability to work, then life insurance is, I would probably say, the most important, because if anything were to happen to you prematurely, you want to make sure that they are covered. The other thing is you might also get it if you ever go into business with somebody else. They might require you to get insurance if, again, anything were to happen to you, and vice versa, because if you partner up with someone and they bring in a significant portion of your business and they pass away, you're now left out in the cold. So that's the first. Insurance is all dependent on what kind of need there is. So the second would be disability. I would probably say that this is probably the second most important. This is if you are unable to work because you get injured, even covers mental depression, things like that.
Okay.
The reason you would get that is because it provides income on a monthly basis. So unlike life insurance, which is a one-time payout, disability pays over months until you are able to work again.
Okay. And you mentioned that that's the most difficult out of all of them, right?
Yeah, so disability, because the chances of us getting disabled before 65 is pretty high. It's probably one in two people.
Okay.
For at least 90 days.
Okay.
But the thing is, the insurance company will never know how long that person would be disabled for.
Right.
So theoretically speaking, for example, myself, 27, if I get injured and can't work for the rest of my life, they would be paying me for the next 30
Long time.
years.
Yeah.
Where with life insurance, they know, okay, if I get $1 million, they just pay $1 million and
Sure.
that's it. So there is a bit more risk on the insurance company's side with regards to disability.
Okay. All right.
Okay. The third is critical illness. So this is a relatively new type of insurance relative to life or disability.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it's still 30 years old.
Okay.
And that is if you get a major illness, the three most common being a cancer, heart attack, and stroke. The reason the critical illness came into existence is because we're no longer, dying at 65, right? A lot of us are living beyond that with medical advances and whatnot. So it's much more common to have one of three of these events occur in your life before you hit the age of 65 as well. And the reason I'm using 65 is that's when you would retire and no longer have an income, ideally anyway.
Okay.
And so critical illness, what happens is it'll pay out a lump sum of whatever coverage you get within 30 days of you being diagnosed.
Right.
So if I got diagnosed with cancer, I would let the insurance company know, and within 30 days I would have a check for however much I applied for. And this doesn't have to be used towards the medical aspect itself. It can be used to pay bills. It can be used for all sorts of different things.
Okay.
The other thing to keep in mind with critical illness is that in Canada, we think we're covered by OHIP in a lot more areas than we actually think. We're covered more than we actually are.
Yeah.
And so critical illness insurance, the payout can help subsidize those costs. It can, for example, if you want to get more experimental treatment, it allows you to now fly out to Europe, the US, wherever, to get that experimental treatment and not have to worry about bills or anything like that.
Okay.
And studies have shown that individuals who have critical illness cover those costs often recover much faster because they're not worrying about all the other aspects that they would have to deal with in their
No,
life.
for sure. Like worrying about your finances while you're sick is not something you want to be doing.
It's hard enough, like
Yeah.
while you're healthy,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So that's really important information. It's good to know the differences and what they cover you for. So thank you for that.
Just the last one, which I'll talk about quickly, is
Sure.
also health and dental.
Yeah.
So naturally, you'll be covered by health and dental through your work.
Okay.
And likely chances that if you ever go out on your own, you'll probably, especially if you get a contract somewhere, you might be making more in the same role than previously, and that's because the company needs to take into account that you don't have any medical or dental, so that's something that you should get
Yeah.
on your own. That's probably easiest to get. I did one for a client. It took 10 minutes and he
Okay.
got the contract within a day. So
Nice. Nice.
just be aware though, I guess the difference is that with employer, you'll get 100% coverage. So if you go to a doctor, dentist, they'll cover everything. Usually with individual plans, it only covers up to 90%.
I see.
The best plans do.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And usually you bring a selection of companies for applicants to choose from.
Yeah, so our company in specific works with the 5 largest: RBC, Sun Life, Manulife, Canada Life, and Great West Life. There are smaller insurance companies that do very specialized type products, but
Okay.
generally speaking, if you're going with the big, 4 or 5, you're getting the best rates.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And how do people go about applying to these types of insurance?
So unfortunately, compared to things like investments, you still need someone to help you with this process. It's not something that you can go online and directly apply to yourself.
Yeah.
So you need to either talk to an advisor, someone who is insurance licensed. So likely chances that your bank representative will not have an insurance license. So you need to talk to someone from one of the insurance companies that I've mentioned.
Okay.
And then the process is pretty simple from there. From your end, as the client or prospective client, you don't actually need anything other than your kind of time.
Okay.
And what it requires is just anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to answer kind of personal questions, medical questions with the advisor, and then that gets sent off electronically to the insurance company.
Okay.
Now, a lot of insurance companies nowadays, if you are young and healthy, they will not require what we call medical underwriting. So
Nice.
what that means is that you won't need to get your blood drawn or pee in a cup or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if there are any strenuous health conditions, or if you are older applying for it, you might need to go through that same process.
Okay.
And you can expect the whole turnaround from start to finish to be anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Okay. And is there an age, like an average age, that you would say where there would be no pre-medical?
Typically speaking, I know with Manulife, who are really good with no medical underwriting, anytime it's under 40 or under $1 million of life insurance, it's gonna. If you're getting $5 million of life insurance, you can be any age and you can be as healthy as a horse, and you will still need to go through that. But in most cases, you won't.
Okay, cool. And typically, like someone from 30 to 40, what kind of rates are we looking at?
So, typically speaking, it's all going to be relative to your income. Of course, the big thing with insurance is a lot of people see it as a cost and not so much of a protection. So people are concerned about spending a lot of money, as they should be. For life insurance, that'll likely be the cheapest out of everything. It can be, for someone from 30 to 40, it can be $60, $50 a month for $1 million or $500,000. Critical illness is probably your next cheapest, depending how you customize it. The unique thing about critical illness is that you can get what we call a return of premium.
Yeah.
So what that means is that if you never claim, you could theoretically get all your money back.
Right.
But you would have to add that rider on, and you are paying a premium for that add-on.
Yeah, I remember that.
So if you elect to get what I call a Cadillac plan, you're paying somewhere from $200 to $250. But if you're getting a pure base plan and you're cost conscious, it can be as cheap as $40 or $50 as well.
Okay.
For $100,000.
Okay.
Disability will be the most expensive. So disability works in the way that they will insure up to 66% of your provable taxable income.
Okay.
So for individuals that don't claim income to the CRA, this might be more difficult to do, and this would definitely be something that I would say you would have to look into getting before you leave your job. Yeah. Life insurance and critical illness you can get after, but because disability is income based, your income might not be as consistent while you are starting up your business or your entrepreneurship as you were when you were working. So definitely get that in place before you decide to leave.
Okay.
And that can range, again, depending on what type of add-ons you have, can range anywhere from $150 to $300-$400 if you are 30 to 40 years old, depending on health conditions, of course.
Okay, that's really important information. Good to know before we make that big step. So if there's any other information you guys would like, or if you want to speak one-on-one with Nathan, he is definitely available to answer any of your questions. Just leave a comment down below and I can help facilitate that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this information and you find it useful. We'll see you soon. Take care for now.